Rich soul, rich life. Introduction. Rich soul, rich life is your blueprint for unlocking a secret power inside you, a power that can transform your mindset, your relationships, and your entire life. If you're tired of chasing empty success, if you're ready to stop living for others' expectations and start living from your soul's deepest truth, then this book is for you. Get ready to discover how to break free from stress and self-doubt. Build unshakable confidence from within. Create lasting joy, peace, and abundance. Live a life that truly matters on your own terms. The richest life isn't about money. It's about mastering your inner world. Are you ready to unlock your richest self? Let's begin. Chapter 1. The True Wealth Within. We often think wealth is measured by numbers, how much money sits in our bank accounts, how many possessions we own, or the size of our social status. But beneath all that noise lies a deeper truth. The richest wealth is the one that can't be counted or touched. It's the wealth inside you, your soul's richness. Take Sarah, a 34-year-old graphic designer from Seattle. On the outside, her life looked perfect. A steady job, a cozy apartment, and a circle of friends who admired her. Yet, despite all of that, Sarah felt an emptiness, a restless ache she couldn't explain. Weekend getaways and the latest gadgets gave her momentary joy, but nothing lasted. One evening, soaked from the Seattle rain and drained from a tough day, she asked herself a question that changed everything. What if the wealth I'm chasing isn't out there, but inside me? That moment was the spark. Instead of chasing more, Sarah began to turn inward. She started noticing the small joys, a morning cup of coffee savored slowly, a deep conversation with a friend, the peace in quiet moments alone. Over time, she discovered that true wealth lives in the richness of your soul, in gratitude, kindness, purpose, and connection. True wealth isn't measured by dollars or possessions. It's measured by how deeply you live and love. It's the abundance of joy that fills you even when the outside world feels uncertain. It's the calm confidence that you are enough, just as you are. As you begin this journey in rich soul, rich life, remember, the greatest riches come from within. The soul's wealth doesn't just change your life, it transforms how you experience every moment. Chapter 2. Awakening Your Inner Value. Have you ever felt like the world doesn't truly see who you are? Like there's a deeper part of you waiting to be recognized, but somehow it stays hidden beneath doubt or distraction? That feeling is the whisper of your inner value, the rich, untapped treasure inside you that defines your worth beyond money or achievements. Think about Maya from Atlanta. She spent years chasing external success, promotions, status, material, in things, yet she felt empty inside. It wasn't until she took a moment to pause and reflect that she realized her true wealth wasn't in her bank account, but in her unique gifts, her kindness, her resilience. That awakening changed everything. Suddenly, life wasn't about proving herself to the world, but honoring the priceless value she already carried. Awakening your inner value is the first step on the path to a rich soul and a rich life. It's about recognizing that you are enough, and not because of what you do, but because of who you are. This realization shifts your energy and opens doors to opportunities you couldn't see before. It's like flipping a switch inside, turning on a light that reveals your true power and potential, your sacred practice, Today, take 5 quiet minutes to write down 3 qualities about yourself that you deeply appreciate. These aren't things you wish you had, but traits you already possess: your compassion, your courage, your creativity. Read them aloud and let yourself feel the truth of your worth. This simple act is the key to unlocking your inner value and stepping into a richer, fuller life. Chapter 3. The Power of Presence. Have you ever caught yourself thinking about a meeting you have later while someone is talking to you right now, or maybe scrolling on your phone when you're supposed to be enjoying a walk or dinner? That's how most of us live, half here, half somewhere else. But what if I told you that real power lies in being fully present? That this simple shift could change your entire life and open the door to true richness, not just in money, but in soul and happiness? Let me tell you about Jake from Chicago. Jake was always chasing the next big thing: a promotion, a deal, a better car. But no matter what he achieved, he felt empty inside. One day, during a tough conversation with his wife, Jake realized he hadn't truly listened to her in months. His mind was somewhere else: at work, on his phone, in the future. That night he made a choice: to show up fully in every moment. Slowly, Jake started noticing the small things: the smile on his daughter's face, the sound of rain, the taste of his morning coffee. And that presence gave him a new kind of wealth: calm, connection, and joy. Presence is the doorway to your richest life. It's about being 100% here, right now, not lost in worries about the past or future. When you master presence, your soul feels alive, your relationships deepen, and your mind finds clarity. That's the kind of richness that lasts. Why does presence matter so much? Because the mind is naturally wired to wander. Science shows that our thoughts jump from past to future about 47% of the time. When your mind races, you lose touch with life as it happens. You miss the beauty, the opportunities, the love right in front of you. Presence fixes that. It pulls your attention back to what's real and immediate. That's powerful. When you practice presence, you stop rushing. You stop worrying. You stop reacting on autopilot. Instead, you become the observer of your own life. You notice your feelings without getting overwhelmed. You see people clearly. You listen deeply. And here's the best part: presence isn't complicated. It doesn't require hours of meditation or fancy retreats. It starts with simple, everyday moments. For example, try this. When you eat, really taste your food. Notice the flavors, the textures. When you talk to someone, look them in the eye and listen without planning your response. When you walk, feel your feet touching the ground. These little acts are powerful anchors to the present. Presence also unlocks your creativity and intuition. When your mind isn't cluttered, fresh ideas flow naturally. Many great artists, leaders, and innovators say their best work happens when they are deeply present, fully absorbed in the moment. But presence takes practice. Your brain is trained to jump around, so be patient. When you notice your mind drifting, gently bring it back. No judgment, no frustration. Jake learned this slowly. At first, it felt strange to just be with his family without distractions. But over time, those moments added up. His marriage improved. His stress melted away. He felt connected to life again. That's the power of presence. Your sacred practice. Right. Now pause. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Feel the air fill your lungs, then release. Do it again. As you breathe, notice where you are. Feel your feet on the floor, your body sitting or standing. Listen to the sounds around you without labeling them. That's it. This simple pause, done even once a day, begins to train your brain to come back to now. It's your anchor in the chaos. Remember, your richest life is built moment by moment. Presence is the foundation. Start small. Build your presence muscle. Watch how your soul blooms and your life feels richer than ever before. Chapter 4. Gratitude as a spiritual currency. Imagine waking up every day feeling like you already have everything you need. Not just your bank account full, but your heart full too. That's the magic of gratitude, the spiritual currency that can transform your life from the inside out. Meet Lisa, a single mom from Austin, Texas. A few years ago, Lisa was overwhelmed. Working 2 jobs, struggling to pay bills, and raising her kids alone, it felt like life was against her. But one morning, she decided to try something simple. Every day, she wrote down 3 things she was grateful for. It wasn't easy at first, especially with so much pressure weighing her down. But as the weeks passed, Lisa noticed a shift. Gratitude didn't erase her challenges, but it changed how she experienced them. She started to see small blessings, a kind smile, a roof over her head, the laughter of her children, and those moments became fuel. They gave her strength and hope. Gratitude isn't just a nice feeling. It's a powerful tool, a spiritual currency that enriches your soul and attracts abundance. When you focus on what you have instead of what you lack, you shift your energy. That energy opens doors you didn't even know existed. Science backs this up. Studies show that people who practice gratitude regularly experience better health, deeper relationships, and more success. Their brains literally rewire to notice positivity more. Gratitude helps reduce stress, improves sleep, and boosts happiness. But here's the catch. Gratitude has to be authentic. It's not about forcing yourself to say thank you for things you don't mean. It's about feeling grateful, even in the small, imperfect moments. It's about recognizing that every challenge, every struggle, carries a hidden gift. Think about it. The hardest lessons in life often teach us the most. When you learn to say thanks for those lessons, even when they hurt, you're turning struggle into strength. That's spiritual wealth. How do you start? The key is simple but powerful. Daily gratitude. Each morning or night, take a moment. Write down 3 things you genuinely appreciate. They don't have to be big. A warm cup of tea, a friend's message, a quiet moment alone. The more specific you are, the more your mind tunes into the abundance around you. Another powerful practice is to express gratitude directly to others. Tell someone how much you appreciate them. Say thanks without expecting anything in return. Gratitude shared is gratitude multiplied. Over time, these small actions add up. They reshape your mindset from scarcity to abundance. You stop focusing on what's missing and start celebrating what's present. That's a richer way to live. Gratitude also deepens your connection to life itself. It reminds you that you are part of something bigger, a vast, unfolding universe that supports and loves you. When you view gratitude as spiritual currency, every thank you deposits wealth into your soul bank. Lisa's story is proof. Her gratitude practice didn't solve all her problems overnight, but it gave her a new perspective, one filled with hope and resilience. She felt richer, not because of money, but because her soul was nourished. your sacred practice. Right now, grab a notebook or open your phone's notes app. Write down 3 things you're truly grateful for today. Be specific. Maybe it's the sound of birds outside, a good conversation you had, or the fact you woke up this morning. Feel the gratitude in your body as you write. Let it fill your chest, your hands, your heart. If you want, share one gratitude with someone you care about today. Notice how it shifts your energy and theirs. This simple practice, done daily, builds your spiritual wealth. It rewires your brain and opens your heart to receive more. Remember, gratitude is the currency that buys you a rich soul and a rich life. Start spending it today. Chapter 5. Letting Go of Scarcity Mindset. Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you work, there's never enough? Not enough money? Not enough time? Not enough opportunities? That feeling of not enough, that's the scarcity mindset. It's a mindset that traps millions of people in a cycle of fear, anxiety, and limitation. But here's the truth. Letting go of scarcity is one of the most powerful moves you can make to live a rich soul and a rich life. Take Lisa, for example. Lisa grew up believing money was always tight. Her parents constantly worried about bills, and that fear seeped into her own thinking. As an adult, Lisa found herself constantly stressed about not having enough. Not enough savings, not enough career success, not enough happiness. Even when things improved, the feeling of scarcity stayed stuck in her mind like a shadow she couldn't shake. That changed the day Lisa realized something crucial. Scarcity isn't about the world around you. It's about how you see it. Scarcity is a lens, a story your mind tells you that says, "There's not enough for me." But what if you flip that story? What if you believed there is enough? Enough love, enough success, enough abundance, and that it's waiting for you? This shift is the beginning of true freedom. Scarcity blocks your energy. When you believe resources are limited, you operate from fear. You hold back, you compete, you hoard your ideas and your time. But the world works differently for those who believe in abundance. They share, create, and trust that good things flow to them. And because of that, more good things do flow. Here's the key. Abundance is a mindset you choose every day. It doesn't mean ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. It means choosing to focus on what's possible instead of what's missing. How do you start letting go of scarcity? It begins with awareness. Notice when your mind says things like, "I can't afford that," "There's no way I'll get ahead," or "I'm not enough." Those thoughts are the clues. Next, challenge those thoughts. Ask yourself, is this really true? What evidence do I have? Could there be another way to see this? Then, practice gratitude. Gratitude is the natural antidote to scarcity. When you focus on what you do have, your health, your skills, your relationships, you invite more abundance into your life. Gratitude rewires your brain to notice opportunities instead of obstacles. Lisa started small. Each morning, she wrote down 3 things she was grateful for. Some days, it was as simple as a hot cup of coffee or a kind smile from a stranger. Over time, this practice reshaped her thinking. She began to feel richer inside, even before her bank account caught up. Remember, letting go of scarcity doesn't mean you become careless with money or stop working hard. It means you work from a place of trust and possibility, not fear. That Energy change is magnetic. It attracts success and happiness. Your soul thrives when you let go of scarcity. You stop fighting life and start flowing with it. Your sacred practice. Right now, pause and breathe. Think of one area in your life where you feel scarcity. It might be money, time, or love. Now, ask yourself, what would it feel like to believe there is enough? Imagine the relief, the peace, the freedom. Write down one sentence that shifts your mindset. For example, there is more than enough for me, or I attract abundance every day. Repeat this sentence to yourself whenever scarcity thoughts arise. Let it remind you that you are worthy of wealth, in every form. Start this practice today. Watch how your mindset loosens its grip on fear and how your life begins to expand. The richer your soul becomes, the richer your life will be. Chapter 6. Aligning with your higher purpose. Have you ever felt like something's missing, even when everything looks perfect on the outside? Maybe you have a good job, a nice house, even money in the bank. Yet there's this quiet voice inside, whispering that you're meant for more. That feeling, it's your higher purpose calling. Take Maya from Seattle. For years, Maya worked a 9-to-5 she didn't love, chasing promotions that never felt quite right. She earned well, but at night she felt drained and disconnected. One morning, after a long walk in the forest, something clicked. She realized her true passion was helping others heal, something she'd pushed aside for practical reasons. That moment was her turning point. She quit her job, went back to school, and today Maya runs a successful wellness coaching business. Her soul finally feels rich, aligned with purpose, full of meaning. Your higher purpose isn't just a lofty idea or some distant dream. It's a compass, a powerful force that guides your decisions, fuels your motivation, and brings fulfillment. When you align with your purpose, life flows easier. You wake up excited. Obstacles become lessons. You attract the right people and opportunities. But here's the truth. Many people never find their higher purpose because they get stuck in the daily grind, distracted by noise, or afraid of change. They settle for comfort instead of growth. The good news? You can discover your purpose and start living it right now. How do you find your higher purpose? Start by asking yourself some honest questions. What makes you lose track of time? What brings you joy, even when it's challenging? When do you feel most alive? Your answers hold clues to your soul's calling. Next, pay attention to your strengths and natural talents. Purpose isn't about forcing yourself to fit a mold. It's about leaning into what feels authentic. For example, maybe you're a great listener or a problem solver, or maybe you love creating beauty in art or nature. These gifts point you toward your path. Alignment with your higher purpose also means saying no to what drains you, toxic jobs, relationships, or habits, and saying yes to what nourishes your soul. That takes courage, but the payoff is worth it. Purpose fuels persistence. When you're aligned, setbacks don't crush you. They become stepping stones. You learn to trust the process, knowing you're on the right path. Maya's story isn't unique. Every person who's ever felt fulfilled in their work or life followed a similar journey. They listened to their inner voice, took brave steps, and kept moving forward, even when the way wasn't clear. Your sacred practice. Take a quiet moment now. Write down these 3 questions. What activity or work makes me feel energized and alive? When do I feel most connected to myself and others? What impact do I want to have on the world? Be honest and open. Don't censor your answers. Once you've answered, look for patterns or themes. These reveal your higher purpose in simple, powerful terms. Start aligning your daily actions with these answers. It could be small steps, volunteering, learning new skills, or connecting with like-minded people. Every move toward purpose builds momentum. Remember, a rich soul lives in alignment. When your life reflects your true purpose, richness flows naturally in joy, peace, and even prosperity. Chapter 7. The Practice of Compassion. When Ana Delgado moved to Denver from a small town in New Mexico, she didn't expect her life to change so dramatically. At 32, Ana was a successful graphic designer, known for her sharp skills and relentless drive. But despite her outward success, she felt a deep emptiness gnawing at her soul, a void she couldn't fill with promotions or new projects. She noticed that her relationships were shallow, and she struggled to find genuine connection. Then one evening, as she volunteered at a local shelter, something shifted. Ana met Mrs. Thompson, an elderly woman who was quietly struggling with loneliness and loss. Instead of rushing through her volunteer duties, Ana sat with Mrs. Thompson, listening deeply without judgment. As she extended simple acts of kindness, a warm smile, a gentle hand on the shoulder, Ana found her heart opening in ways she hadn't imagined. That evening, Ana experienced firsthand how compassion is more than an emotion. It's a powerful practice that enriches not just the receiver, but the giver too. Compassion is often mistaken for mere sympathy, feeling sorry for others. But true compassion is an active force, a conscious choice to recognize suffering, both in others and ourselves, and to respond with kindness and understanding. It's what transforms pain into healing, isolation into connection. In the rush of everyday life, practicing compassion can feel like a luxury, yet it's the very foundation of a rich soul, and by extension, a rich life. The journey to compassion starts with awareness. Ana's turning point was when she stopped focusing solely on her own worries and opened her heart to another's experience. She learned that compassion requires presence, truly being with someone in their moment of vulnerability without rushing to fix or judge. It's in these moments that genuine empathy blossoms. But compassion also means being gentle with ourselves. So often, we are our own harshest critics, eroding our self-worth with negative self-talk and unforgiving standards. Practicing compassion inwardly means acknowledging our imperfections without shame, embracing our struggles as part of the human experience. Ana discovered that when she treated herself with the same kindness she offered Mrs. Thompson, her inner emptiness began to dissolve. Neuroscience supports what ancient wisdom has long taught. Compassion rewires the brain for connection and joy. Acts of kindness release oxytocin, known as the love hormone, which lowers stress and promotes feelings of happiness. Compassion cultivates resilience, making us stronger in the face of challenges. It also creates ripple effects, inspiring others to pay kindness forward, building communities rooted in care. Ana's story reminds us that compassion is a practice, not a destination. It demands patience, courage, and intention. It challenges us to slow down and notice the invisible struggles around us, the grief behind a stranger's eyes, the exhaustion beneath a friend's smile, the pain within ourselves. When we answer that call with open hearts, we awaken the richness within our souls. the compassionate soul practice. Today, set aside 5 minutes to practice what Anna learned. Find a quiet space and bring to mind someone who could use kindness. A friend, a family member, or even yourself. Close your eyes and imagine sending them warmth and understanding. Silently repeat, "May you be free from suffering. May you find peace and healing." Feel your heart open with each breath. When ready, gently return to your day, carrying this compassion as a seed planted in your soul, ready to grow in your actions and thoughts. Remember, the richness of life is not measured by wealth or possessions, but by the depth of our connections and the compassion we extend. As Anna discovered, a rich soul is a compassionate soul, and in compassion we find our richest life. Chapter 8. Embracing Vulnerability. In a bustling cafe in Seattle, Sarah, a graphic designer in her early 30s, sat quietly, swirling her coffee. Outwardly, Sarah's life looked perfect. A steady job, supportive friends, and an active social media presence filled with bright photos and cheerful captions. But inside, Sarah was battling a familiar yet hidden struggle, fear of being truly seen. For years, Sarah had mastered the art of keeping her vulnerabilities hidden. She believed showing weakness would make her appear less competent, less worthy of love and respect. Whenever challenges arose, Sarah's first instinct was to put on a brave face, to mask her insecurities behind humor or deflection. But this coping mechanism came at a cost: loneliness and a gnawing sense of disconnection. She felt isolated even in a room full of people. One evening, after an intense day filled with self-doubt, Sarah confided in her close friend Maria. She shared a deeply personal story about her anxiety and fears of failure, something she had never admitted to anyone before. The response was not judgment, but compassion. Maria listened attentively and reminded Sarah that vulnerability was not a weakness, but a powerful form of courage. This moment became a turning point. Sarah began to see that embracing vulnerability was a way to build authentic connections, not burn bridges. She realized that her fears were not flaws to hide, but human experiences that linked her to others. By allowing herself to be vulnerable, Sarah opened the door to deeper relationships, genuine support, and self-acceptance. Why vulnerability? Vulnerability is often misunderstood. We've been conditioned to equate it with weakness or failure, but in truth, it is the gateway to authenticity, intimacy, and growth. When we let down our guard and reveal our true selves, we invite others to do the same, creating bonds built on trust and empathy. The great researcher Brené Brown, who has extensively studied vulnerability, calls it the birthplace of love, belonging, joy, courage, empathy, and creativity. Without vulnerability, we live in a guarded, disconnected way. But with it, we experience life more fully, embracing both our imperfections and strengths. Embracing vulnerability also means accepting uncertainty and risk. It involves stepping into discomfort and trusting that our worth is not dependent on perfection or control. This openness fuels personal transformation. When we face our fears head-on, we expand our emotional resilience and deepen our understanding of ourselves. The sacred practice of courageous openness. To embrace vulnerability. In your own life, begin with small steps of courageous openness. Acknowledge your feelings. When fear, shame, or insecurity arise, Recognize them without judgment. Naming your emotions is the first act of vulnerability. Share your truth selectively. You don't have to reveal everything to everyone. Find trusted people, friends, family, mentors, where you feel safe enough to express your authentic self. Practice self-compassion. Vulnerability requires kindness toward yourself. Remind yourself that being imperfect is what makes you human, and that mistakes are opportunities to learn, not reasons to withdraw. Lean into discomfort. When you feel the urge to hide or shut down, pause and breathe. Choose to step forward anyway, trusting that growth lies beyond fear. Celebrate small wins. Each time you open up, no matter how small, recognize it as a victory for your soul's richness. Sarah's journey toward embracing vulnerability wasn't linear. It took time, patience, and setbacks. But with each step, she discovered more. Freedom in authenticity and more richness in her relationships. Her rich life grew from the courage to be seen as she truly was, imperfect, brave, and beautifully human. Chapter 9. Healing through Forgiveness. In a small town outside Seattle, Emma's world had shattered. After years of trusting her closest friend, Emma discovered a betrayal so deep it felt like a physical wound. The pain clung to her every thought, poisoning her happiness and clouding her judgment. Night after night, she wrestled with anger, bitterness, and a growing heaviness in her chest. But what Emma didn't realize was that the real prison wasn't the betrayal itself. It was the unforgiveness she held inside. Emma's story is one many of us can relate to. Forgiveness, though often seen as an act of kindness toward others, is actually a powerful gift we give ourselves. It's the key that unlocks the cage holding our own peace hostage. Yet, forgiveness is not a simple switch. It's a journey, a practice of healing the soul from wounds that run deep. The truth is, when we cling to resentment, we carry an emotional burden that drains our energy, disrupts our health, and limits our ability to move forward in life. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or excusing the hurt. It means acknowledging the pain and choosing to release its grip on us. It's a courageous act of reclaiming our freedom. Emma began her healing when she decided to shift her perspective. Instead of asking, "Why did they do this to me?" she asked, "How can I heal from this and grow stronger?" That simple change in question sparked a transformation. She sought support through therapy and journaling, allowing herself to feel the pain rather than suppress it. Over time, Emma discovered that forgiveness was less about the other person and more about restoring herself. Her journey wasn't linear. There were days when anger flared up unexpectedly and nights filled with doubt. But each time she reminded herself that healing was a process, not a destination. She learned to set boundaries that honored her well-being, and in doing so, she rebuilt her sense of self-worth. Slowly, the weight of resentment lifted, and a profound peace took its place. Emma's story reminds us that forgiveness is a sacred practice, an act of self-love and liberation. When we forgive, we break free from the chains of the past and open our hearts to new possibilities. The soul begins to thrive when it's no longer weighed down by grudges. Sacred practice. To begin your own healing through forgiveness, try this simple but powerful ritual. Find a quiet space where you feel safe and undisturbed. Close your eyes and take several deep breaths, centering yourself in the present moment. Bring to mind the person or situation that you're ready to forgive. Feel the emotions rise without judgment. Imagine holding the pain in your hands like a heavy stone. Acknowledge its weight. Visualize setting that stone down gently on the ground and walking away, feeling the burden lift from your shoulders. Silently say to yourself, I choose peace. I release this pain. I forgive, not for them, but for me. When you're ready, open your eyes and notice the shift in your energy. Forgiveness doesn't erase the past, but it clears the path for a richer, fuller life. As Emma discovered, healing through forgiveness transforms the soul, allowing it to shine with new light and infinite possibility. Remember, a rich soul is a forgiving soul, and in forgiveness lies the secret to a truly rich life. Chapter 10. Sacred Simplicity. In a small town nestled among the rolling hills of Vermont lived Eleanor, a retired school teacher who had spent decades chasing the world's definition of success. She owned a beautiful house filled with elegant furniture, a garage packed with the latest gadgets, and a calendar full of social commitments. But despite it all, Eleanor often felt a quiet emptiness, as if something vital was missing from her life. One autumn afternoon, as she walked through a forest blanketed with golden leaves, Eleanor noticed how peaceful the simplicity of nature made her feel. The soft rustling of leaves, the crisp air, the gentle sunlight filtering through the branches. None of it demanded anything from her. It simply was. In that moment, she realized she had been complicating her life with unnecessary clutter, both physical and mental. Eleanor decided to embark on a journey to rediscover sacred simplicity, a way of living that honors the profound, beauty found in the uncomplicated. She began by decluttering her home, but more importantly, she started simplifying her thoughts and daily routines. She slowed down, listened more, and found joy in the small, quiet moments, brewing tea mindfully, writing letters by hand, or simply watching the sunset. With each step towards simplicity, Eleanor felt her soul expand. She discovered that sacred simplicity is not about deprivation, but about creating space. Space to breathe, to be, to connect deeply with herself and the world around her. It was a practice of letting go of excess, so that what truly mattered could shine brighter. This shift transformed Eleanor's life. Her relationships deepened, her health improved, and she found a new sense of peace that no material possession could offer. Sacred simplicity became her daily prayer, a gentle reminder that richness is found not in abundance, but in presence and clarity. The practice of sacred simplicity. Today, take a moment to find one thing you can simplify in your life. It could be your schedule, your surroundings, or even your thoughts. Try to approach this with reverence, seeing simplicity not as loss, but as a sacred space for your soul to breathe. Notice how this shift invites calmness and clarity. Remember, richness blooms in simplicity. Chapter 11. The Wealth of Generosity. In the bustling city of Atlanta, Georgia, lived a woman named Nina Thompson. Nina had built a modest but steady career as a graphic designer. She was proud of the work she'd done and the small but cozy apartment she called home. Yet deep inside, Nina often felt a hollow ache, a sense that despite her achievements, something was missing. Money came and went, but happiness seemed fleeting. She longed for a richness that went beyond her bank account, a wealth she could feel in her soul. One day, Nina came across an article about a local charity that provided art supplies and creative workshops for children in underserved neighborhoods. Something sparked inside her. She remembered how art had been her sanctuary growing up, the way colors and brushes gave her freedom and hope when life felt tough. Moved by the story, she decided to donate a small portion of her monthly income to the charity. What surprised Nina was how this simple act shifted something inside her. Each month, as she contributed, she felt a growing warmth, a connection to others that filled the emptiness she hadn't known how to name. Giving was not just about money, it was about sharing a part of herself, her values, her hope. She began volunteering at the workshops, teaching kids to paint and express themselves. The joy she witnessed in their eyes was contagious. It sparked a sense of purpose and abundance Nina hadn't felt before. Nina's story reminds us that true wealth isn't measured by how much we keep, but by how much we give. The energy of generosity flows beyond the material. It nourishes our spirit, expands our heart, and connects us deeply to the world around us. When we give, we open ourselves to receiving more joy, more meaning, more richness in life. This chapter invites you to explore the profound power of generosity, not just as a financial transaction, but as a soulful practice. Generosity transforms scarcity into abundance. It breaks down walls of isolation and replaces them with bridges of compassion. When your soul is rich with giving, your life becomes a reflection of that richness in every relationship, every moment, and every experience. The power of generosity is rooted in the understanding that we are all interconnected. When we give, we tap into a flow of energy that circles back to us in ways we often don't expect. It might come as a new opportunity, a deepened relationship, or simply a peaceful sense of fulfillment. The universe rewards the heart that gives freely, and in this exchange, wealth becomes more than numbers. It becomes a living force that elevates your whole being. If you've ever hesitated to give because you feel you don't have enough, Nina's story is a reminder that generosity isn't about how much you give, but the intention and love behind it. Even the smallest act, when done from the heart, can ripple outward in ways that multiply beyond imagination. Your practice for this chapter. Find one way this week to give, not because you have to, but because you want to. It could be donating time, sharing a skill, offering a kind word, or giving a small gift. Notice how it makes you feel. Reflect on how generosity creates a ripple, spreading beyond the immediate moment to touch lives, including your own, in powerful ways. Remember, richness of soul comes from opening your heart to others. The wealth of generosity is the richest wealth of all. Chapter 12. Cultivating Joy from Within. In the heart of Seattle, Emily Rivera was known for her warm smile and infectious laughter. But behind that radiant exterior, Emily struggled with deep feelings of emptiness. For years, she chased success, climbing the corporate ladder, buying a bigger house, accumulating accolades. Yet despite all her achievements, joy seemed fleeting, slipping through her fingers like grains of sand. One rainy afternoon, after a particularly exhausting day at work, Emily, found herself sitting alone on her apartment balcony, watching the droplets race down the glass. It was then she realized all her external accomplishments couldn't fill the void inside. Emily's awakening came quietly but powerfully. She started asking herself, what if joy isn't something to chase outside, but something to cultivate inside? This question shifted her entire perspective. She began to slow down, breathe deeply, and notice the small moments of gratitude around her. A cup of tea warming her hands, the sound of rain tapping gently on her window, the kindness of a stranger's smile on her morning walk. Gradually, Emily discovered that joy wasn't about having more. It was about being more present to what already was. This journey inward wasn't easy. There were days when old habits of comparison and self-judgment crept back. But Emily committed to daily practices that nurtured her soul. A morning gratitude journal, moments of mindful breathing, and intentionally choosing kindness over criticism, especially toward herself. Over time, the well of joy inside her grew deeper and more resilient. It no longer depended on outside validation, but radiated from within, spilling over into every aspect of her life. Emily's story is a powerful reminder that true joy is not a destination, but a way of being. When we cultivate joy from within, we build a foundation of happiness that no circumstance can shake. This inner joy fuels resilience, attracts positive energy, and invites us to live with a richer, fuller heart. The Soulful Joy Practice. To start cultivating your own joy from within, try this simple yet profound daily practice. Pause and breathe. Take 3 slow, deep breaths right now. Feel your lungs expand and your body relax. Find one joyful moment. Look around and notice one thing that brings a spark of happiness, a color, a sound, a scent, a memory. Feel it fully. Let yourself fully experience that moment without judgment. Smile if you want to. Let the feeling wash over you. Anchor it. Say quietly to yourself, joy lives within me. Repeat it like a gentle mantra throughout your day. Journal your joy. At the end of each day, write down 3 small moments that brought you joy. This helps train your mind to notice and appreciate joy daily. Cultivating joy from within is not about ignoring challenges or forcing happiness. It's about choosing to acknowledge the good, even in small doses, and allowing that goodness to grow. As Emily discovered, when you turn inward and nourish your soul, joy becomes a natural state, not something to find, but something you live. Remember, your rich soul deserves a rich life filled with joy that no one can take away. Start today and watch how your world begins to glow from the inside out. Chapter 13. Trusting the Flow of Life. In a small town nestled between rolling hills and rivers lived Elena, a 32-year-old artist who had always been a planner. From a young age, she meticulously mapped out every step of her life. The schools she would attend, the career path she would follow, even the city where she would live. Elena believed that success was a direct result of control and careful planning. But life, as she soon discovered, had its own plans. After graduating with honors, Elena landed a coveted job at a renowned design firm. For 2 years, she thrived in her structured world, pushing deadlines and meeting expectations. But then, unexpectedly, the company downsized, and Elena found herself unemployed overnight. Panic surged through her. What would she do? How could she regain control? At first, she tried to force outcomes, sending out resumes, attending endless interviews, all while clinging tightly to her carefully crafted career plan. Nothing seemed to work. The harder she pushed, the more closed doors became. Exhausted and disheartened, Eleanor withdrew to her small studio apartment, staring at a blank canvas, feeling the weight of uncertainty pressing down on her. One evening, a close friend named Malik invited her to a community gathering by the river. Reluctantly, Elena went, dragging her doubts along. The night was cool and quiet, the stars reflecting off the water's surface like shimmering hopes. Malik spoke gently. "Sometimes, Elena, the current takes us places we never imagined. You don't always have to control the river. You can learn to flow with it." His words stirred something deep inside her. Could she really let go of her need for control? Was it possible to trust life's flow even when it felt unpredictable and frightening? The next morning, Elena sat by her window sipping tea, watching the sunrise paint the sky. She decided to try something radical, to surrender her rigid plans and trust the process unfolding before her. Instead of applying for jobs on autopilot, she picked up her brushes again and started painting, not for anyone else, but for herself. Days turned into weeks. Without the pressure to conform, her art began to bloom with new colors and emotions. She shared her work on social media, not expecting much. Then, unexpectedly, a local gallery reached out, inviting her to exhibit. What had felt like an ending was now a new beginning. Elena realized that by trying to control every detail, she had blocked the very opportunities that life was offering. Trusting the flow didn't mean giving up or being passive. It meant being open, flexible, and courageous enough to move with life's currents. Her journey teaches us that life is not a rigid script, but a dance, a rhythm of moments that invite us to trust, adapt, and grow. When we surrender our tight grip and embrace the unknown, we open the door to possibilities beyond our imagination. Sacred practice. To cultivate trust in life's flow, try this simple meditation. Find a quiet space and sit comfortably. Close your eyes and take deep, slow breaths. Imagine a gentle river flowing beside you. Visualize yourself as a leaf floating on the water, moving effortlessly with the current, sometimes fast, sometimes slow. Repeat silently. I trust the flow of life. I release control and embrace the journey. Spend 5 to 10 minutes in this calm surrender. This practice helps you release resistance and tune into the natural rhythm of your life, reminding you that sometimes the best way forward is to simply trust the flow. Chapter 14. Creating Soulful Boundaries. When Elena from Seattle first began feeling overwhelmed by everyone's demands on her time, she thought she just needed to work harder. As a single mom juggling 2 jobs and a part-time community college, of course she was constantly exhausted, but pushed herself to say yes to every request. Whether it was helping a friend move, volunteering at her daughter's school, or picking up extra shifts. But deep inside, she felt a growing emptiness and resentment. She realized she had no boundaries. Her soul was quietly crying for space, rest, and respect. One afternoon, after missing her daughter's school play because she was working late again, Elena broke down. She understood something crucial. Her kindness wasn't limitless, and saying yes to everything was slowly draining her life force. It wasn't selfish to say no. It was sacred self-care. Elena started small. She gave herself permission to pause before answering requests. When her best friend called asking for a favor, Elena took a deep breath and said, "I wish I could help right now, but I need some time for myself." She felt an unexpected lightness. Setting that boundary didn't break her relationships. Instead, it deepened them because it came from honesty and respect. Soulful boundaries aren't just about saying no. They're about honoring your inner voice, the quiet wisdom that knows what truly nourishes your spirit. It's learning to listen deeply to yourself, to protect your energy like a sacred flame. Boundaries teach others how to treat you, and more importantly, how to treat themselves by modeling self-respect. For Eleanor, creating soulful boundaries transformed her life. She rediscovered joy in simple moments, reading with her daughter, morning walks by the Puget Sound, and quiet evenings journaling. Her relationships blossomed as she showed up fully, no longer depleted but energized. And most importantly, she reclaimed her soul's richness. Soulful boundary practice. Before responding to any request today, pause for 3 deep breaths. Ask yourself, does this honor my energy and well-being? Will saying yes nourish my soul or drain it? What would my best self say right now? Practice responding with intention. It might be yes, not right now, or no, thank you. Each choice is a soulful boundary, a sacred act of self-love that builds a rich life from within. Remember, your soul's richness depends on the sacred space you create to protect it. Setting soulful boundaries isn't just self-care, it's soul care. Chapter 15. Living as a Rich Soul Every Day. In a quiet suburb of Denver, Colorado, lived a woman named Elena Torres. At first glance, Elena seemed like any other hard-working professional juggling the demands of a busy life. She was a marketing executive at a major firm, often pulling late nights and managing deadlines with a relentless pace. But beneath the surface of her hectic schedule was a quietly growing transformation, one that would reshape her understanding of what it truly means to live richly. Elena's journey began not with a sudden epiphany, but with a small, consistent choice she made after a particularly draining day. One evening, overwhelmed by stress and fatigue, she paused and asked herself, "What does it mean to live as a rich soul?" It was a question that stuck with her. She realized that despite all her professional achievements and financial stability, she felt disconnected from herself, from others, and from the simple joys life had to offer. This moment sparked a deep inward shift. Elena started carving out just 5 minutes every morning to sit quietly, breathe, and set an intention for the day. To be present, to be kind, to notice the richness of everyday moments. At first, it felt awkward and almost indulgent, but gradually those few minutes grew into a daily ritual that re-centered her. She began noticing how the morning sunlight filtered through her kitchen window, how her daughter's laughter during breakfast was a melody she hadn't truly heard before, how a colleague's genuine smile sparked connection in the middle of a stressful meeting. These moments, small, fleeting, yet profound, became the treasures of her day. Elena also embraced the practice of gratitude. Every evening before sleep, she reflected on 3 things she was thankful for: a warm cup of tea, a kind word from a friend, the calmness of her breath. Gratitude rewired her mind to focus on abundance rather than scarcity. Over time, this simple habit rewove the fabric of her reality. Most importantly, Elena learned to forgive herself, to let go of perfectionism and harsh self-judgment. She accepted that being a rich soul didn't mean being flawless or always achieving. It meant embracing vulnerability, compassion, and authenticity. This self-compassion freed her from the chains of comparison and allowed her to celebrate her unique path. Living as a rich soul every day transformed Elena's life from the inside out. Her relationships deepened, her stress diminished, and she found herself more aligned with her purpose. The richness wasn't in external wealth or accolades. It was in presence, connection, and the quiet joy of being fully alive. The sacred practice. To live as a rich soul every day, create a simple daily ritual called the Daily Soul Check-In. Each morning or evening, find a quiet spot and ask yourself these 3 questions. Where is my soul today? Check in with your feelings and energy. Are you calm, anxious, joyful, tired? Simply notice without judgment. What richness can I uncover? In this day, identify one small thing, a feeling, a moment, a person that brings meaning or joy. How can I nurture my soul right now? Decide on one intentional action. Breathe deeply, write a gratitude note, offer kindness to yourself or others. This practice reconnects you to your inner richness daily, grounding you in presence and awareness. Over time, it rewires your mindset to focus on what truly matters, the richness of your soul reflected in every moment. Living as a rich soul every day isn't about a dramatic transformation or extraordinary achievements. It's about choosing presence over distraction, compassion over judgment, and gratitude over lack. Elena's story reminds us that true wealth is found not in what we own, but in how deeply we live. Conclusion. As we close this journey together, remember that true richness isn't counted in dollars or possessions. It's found deep inside your soul. The lessons we've explored, awareness, presence, compassion, purpose, are the treasures that no one can take away. These are the keys to unlocking a life that feels full, meaningful, and profoundly abundant. Every story shared, every practice offered, is an invitation to awaken the part of you that already knows how to live richly. It's not about chasing external success, but about cultivating the inner light that brightens your path and uplifts those around you. When you nourish your soul, your life naturally overflows with joy, peace, and fulfillment. So step forward with courage and kindness, embrace your worth, trust your journey, and remember, a rich soul creates a rich life. This truth will guide you no matter where life leads. Thank you for allowing me to walk alongside you. Your richest life awaits, and it begins now.